getting set to kick off to the combination of Zachary Dixon. There's Zachary on the left side of the screen and David Hughes on the right. And we're underway here at the Kingdome in Seattle. This is Dixon. Out to the 20. Penalty flags thrown as Zach Dixon in his 5th season out of Temple returns across the 20-yard line, a 21-yard return. The referee today is Jim Tunney, and we await the call. Jim Zorn with Kurt Warner and David Hughes in the Seattle backfield. Steve Largent sitting it out at the start. He was questionable because of a knee injury and may play later on, but Byron Walker gets the starting nod, and the offensive line of the Seattle Seahawks anchored by the veteran center Blair Bush.
Illegal block above the waist, number 57, half the distance, 10 yards.
So it is Shelton Robinson called for the illegal block. And the Seahawks back at their 8-yard line and going to work. Jim Zorn, who has played very well against the Raiders. He's thrown 6 touchdowns in 6 games against the Raider franchise. And this is Kurt Warner, the AFC's leading rusher with 531 yards. Kurt Warner stopped by Ted Hendricks.
And Marv, you might mention Howie Long, Reggie Kinlaw, and Lyle Alzado, who are in there now, interchanged with the other 3 who are equally as able. And those 2 in the white letters are the fellows who are replaced by the 5 defensive backs when they play the nickel and sometimes 6.
And the Raiders secondary, Hayes, Watts, Davis, McElroy. Pick up a 5. Here are the Raiders in terrific field position as they open up at the Seattle 47-yard line. Calvin Muhammad to the left, starting in place of Cliff Branch, who injured his hamstring with that sensational touchdown pass play against the Redskins. And Jim Plunkett fires the middle, and he has the tight end Todd Christensen. Keith Butler, inside linebacker on the right, along with Shelton Robinson making the stop. Marcus Allen and Frank Hawkins at the running backs. Kenny King is out with a bruised knee. And the receivers, Muhammad along with Malcolm Barnwell, and one of Plunkett's favorites, the tight end, Christensen. Offensive line, Dave Dalby, the center, this 12th year out of UCLA. Hannah Marvin at the guards, and Davis and Lawrence at the tackles. Pick up a 5, second down and 5. 2 minutes gone by. First quarter, no score. And here's Allen to the 39-yard line. So a 3-yard advance. Tuiasosopo and Bryant combining on the stop.
3 #1 draft choices. Now, when you have your defense, you'd love to build them against 3 outstanding defensive linemen. They've got 3 in Seattle. Makes the job a lot easier for the linebackers, but they've been hurt in that position.
They have had a couple of injuries, and the backups are a question mark. Very young behind the starters.
Kenny Easley's supposed to be healthy again, Marv, so number 45 should be a factor.
And here's a 3rd down and 2.
You know, sometimes they say, let's take it up the middle. That is a perfect dissection. I don't think I've ever seen a play that went so much up the middle. Take a look. Number 50, Dave Dalby, the center. Here comes Frank Hawkins, runs right up over the top of the ball.
So the former high school quarterback completed 2 passes.
I know. Maybe they should have played him quarterback.
All right, here is call that play.
You talk about your plays that are wide open. Those are the things you find in the film. You get into a certain situation, like inside the 15-yard line. They had discussed it earlier. We didn't know when it was going to happen. Any sort of a pitch. They've got Todd Christensen, who is playing tight end on the other side with 2 tight ends. He makes his block down the field. Looks like a simple little running play. All the linemen going to the left. wide open, and Marcus Allen has a good throwing motion.
He threw a touchdown last week, completed another pass, and he's done it again here. And the crowd is stunned as Chris Barr adds the extra point. Marcus Allen with his second touchdown pass within the last 2 games, and with 4.5 gone by first quarter, the Raiders with the early lead. It's a 3rd down and 4 at the 16. Let's see, the Seahawks feel that Zorn was able to work his way in. He looks to be just short. A 15-yard run by Zorn, who saw the opening and took advantage.
Jim Zorn still does some of the things that he did a lot when he was a younger quarterback, and he still does them just as well. It's that they don't have to depend on him to do that in order to win a football game. He sends both backs wide. They have no linebackers in the area to handle the play because they're both man-to-man on the running.
It was Marcus Allen connecting with the tight end Todd Christensen, 19-yard pass play. So Allen, who threw a touchdown last week, has done it again here. And you see the final scores: Detroit over Chicago. 15th play of this sustained drive, 2nd and goal.
Several years now. He's got a group with him. That offensive line moved people around up front for the Raiders, and it's one of the few times I've seen it happen all year. The first 4 games of the season, nobody even scored a rushing touchdown against the Raider defense. This is the most impressive drive I've seen against that defense all year long.
And here's Norm Johnson with Jim Zorn holding. And we are tied at 7. A Seattle drive that took 8 minutes and 20 seconds, concluding with Dorning taking it over for his 2nd touchdown of the season. And a look at the statistics in the first quarter. Seahawks control the football for over 10 minutes. We're tied at 7. Zorn out of the shotgun. Oh, good hit. Hard hit by Lester Hayes all over Dan Dorning.
Well, I tell you what, when number 33 comes out of the backfield and it's 3rd down, everybody in the house knows Zorn would like to throw the ball to him. Now, Lester Hayes is no fool. He stands back there on his man, but he sees Zorn, and as soon as he comes off the Dornick, he's going to make him feel it. No reception there.
And the punting team, come on, Jeff West, 8th year, out of Cincinnati, back at his 5-yard line. Greg Pruitt is back. West usually gets the good hang time. All right, here's Pruitt. And apparently called for the fair catch. That time did not get the hang time. A 35-yard punt and a timeout is called.
Being hurt, they've got to throw to Christensen.
Here's Marcus Allen. And another Raider first down. Keith Butler on the tackle.
And let number 32 run more. You know, his idea is, give me the ball and you won't be sorry. Well, your offensive line has to play well for him to do well also. And last week they didn't have a good game for them.
And this attempt from 32 yards out, Mark Wilson will hold. Chris Barr, who is 4 for 8 on the season, he has connected 2 of his last 3. And he connects right here. So Barr from 32. And the Raiders now lead the Seahawks by the score of 10-7. The Raiders felt he was having mechanical problems last week, throwing from off the back foot, not stepping up, following through.
Hey, we all fall into those little traps. I mentioned Zorn's timing wasn't as good on his outside patterns. Plunkett looks like his timing is pretty good right now.
All right, here is a 3rd down and 4. Much time, and he fires end zone. Touchdown, Todd Christensen. Kerry Justin was beaten by Christensen, or perhaps fooled and mistimed as that ball was thrown over the head of Justin.
Well, I don't know what the specifics were, but I do know when you have a defender inside the receiver and you've got about 2 feet to go before the ball is out of the end zone, it's a great play if your receiver comes down with the football. You see, Christensen looks to have no play. Plunkett threw it the only place it could be thrown, just over Terry's reach, and that's one of the few times you see height make a big difference.
Right, Christensen at 6'3", and Justin at 5'11". And Barr drills it. So Todd Christensen, the pass receiver from Marcus Allen earlier on a 19-yard hookup. And now Plunkett able to connect for Christensen, his 6th touchdown catch of the season. And with 18 seconds left in the first half, the Raiders now lead the Seahawks 17-7. Crowd does not appreciate the fact that Chuck Knox prefers to run out the clock rather than go for the bomb, but it can cost you here in the final seconds. And so a very ineffective first half for Jim Zorn, as Chuck Knox will have plenty to talk about at halftime, with the Raiders leading the Seahawks by the score of 17-7. Jim Zorn is 2 for 8, minus 6 yards in the first half. And the kickoff by Norm Johnson. Line drives it, and Cleve Montgomery will stay right there. He actually was screened by one of the officials, and they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. And a look at the statistics in the first half. As you see, the Seahawks had the football for 16.5 minutes.
I think the turnover that's most impressive is the Raiders, again, turned the ball over 3 times. They had no turnovers themselves. They're still 10 points ahead.
Zorn is 2 for 9. Here's Zorn stepping up.
Number 33, you see him right here. He's trying to help Zorn. Now, the linebackers have both gone out to try and double on the outsides. When you don't have any linebackers left in the middle of the field, you give a fellow like Zorn a chance to get up underneath the pass rush. He's going to pick up some yards, and he scores.
There's Norm Johnson. So Jim Zorn, not able to do it in the air, has done it on the ground, and Seattle trailing by only 3. And here is Ray Guy back at his 20, getting set to punt for the first time this afternoon. Paul Johns, in his 3rd season out of Tulsa, returning last week from the knee injury. And he's the deep man. This is Johns, 25-yard line. He has speed. He's Paul Johns. Johns going 74 yards for the score.
Yards on a punt return is something that you very rarely see happen to the Raiders. Right now, Chuck Knox's group is leading his ball game with mirrors. They have had 2 very big key 3rd down runs by Zorn to keep drives alive, and 1 for a touchdown. Now here's a punt return. It hasn't been their offense. It's been a whole collection of people that just have refused to give up.
Johnson looking to make it 21-17, and he does. Paul Johns with his first ever touchdown on a punt return.
Watch Plunkett coming out of here. Tried to get out. Dave Dalby steps right on his foot. He cannot get out. Whenever you see a quarterback fall coming out from the center, it's all 100% of the time, the center stepping on his foot.
And a long-range field goal from 42 yards away being attempted by Chris Barr, and it is good. So Barr drilling it through. He hit from 32 yards earlier, and now from 42. A minute and 19 remaining. Third quarter in what has developed into a dandy. It's a 24-20 Seattle Seahawks, first and 10 at their 11-yard line. 56 seconds left, third quarter. And Zorn with time had it knocked out of his hands. And let's see the Raiders. Called a safety. It's called a safety. Apparently one of the Seahawks was able to recover. Well, we've seen everything here this afternoon.
Yeah, you got to take a look. We've been pretty tough on Zorn, but who can throw in this little vacuum? You can see their defensive line is putting such pressure on Zorn that they're coming from all angles. Howie Long got his hand on Zorn just as he was in the motion to throw. Fortunately, one of his own men caught the ball, but for a safety, that puts the ball game within a field goal reach. A whole quarter to go, and if the Seahawks don't create some sort of offensive movement, they are history.
It was the right guard, Robert Pratt, who was able to come up with that loose football, and then he was hammered down.
That's right.
So the safety to be followed by the free kick, and it's now 24-22 Seahawks by 2. Harv Albert, John Brody from Seattle, Washington, and it's a first down at the 20-yard line for the Los Angeles Raiders. Malcolm Barnwell out to the right side. Plunkett looking that way and has it. Let's see what the call is. This Jeff Bryant picks it up and races in. And it's ruled a fumble recovery. Unusual scoring play.
That ought to just about capture every way you can do it.
So here is Norm Johnson looking to give the Seahawks a 31-22 lead. Zorn awaits the snap. The defense has done it again.
People would say, and Plunkett, I think, agrees, hey, his arm was close. He was moving forward, but the ball, in evidence, went backwards, which means they hit it before the ball was on its movement forward. The ball never made any movement forward. He's trying to get a call from the official mentioning that he was in the motion of throwing the ball, and it doesn't matter whether you are or not. If your arm's not coming forward with the ball when it's hit, it's a fumble. That's the way it was received. How about 7-0 in turnovers?
Jacob Green on the recovery.
I always thought it was important to play offense, but Seattle obviously realizes that's overrated. They're liable to put 40 points on the board without ever sustaining an offensive drive after the opener. Plunkett has no options left. His offensive line has got to protect. He's got to let his receivers get down the field. Joe Nash is the first man to get a hold of Plunkett. Jacob Green picks up the fumble, and they've got it again inside the 10.
5 fumbles, 3 interceptions thrown by Plunkett for the 8 turnovers. And here is Zorn, first and goal at the 8. And the Raiders have to be asking, what is going on?
Well, they're averaging 4.5 turnovers a game, and they came into this baby 5-1. too many turnovers is what's going on.
6th sack credited to Seattle. James Gordon picks up some short yardage. Ted Watts, Van McElroy combined on the tackle as we checked the scoreboard earlier today at Shea in New York. The Dolphins doing it to the Jets 32-14.
This isn't the only place turnovers were a factor. Look at Pittsburgh. They got 5 of Sipes, 5 of Richard Todd's.
San Francisco with a late rally, walloping New Orleans. New England over San Diego, 37-21. Minnesota winning big over Houston. 31-17, Detroit beating Chicago. 2nd and goal at the 6. Nice change of direction, and Warner is in.
For their franchise. Chuck Knox stated before the ball game that if we can win this one, we're definitely in the hunt for certain in a position to get a playoff berth. And you get a guy like Kurt Warner who gets his shoulders upfield in a position where a linebacker's one-on-one, and that guy's got no case. Chuck Knox ran all the way down to the goal line to congratulate number 28. And these fellas, not only now where the Raiders were in a great position, if they win the game, they could have extended their lead to 3 games. West. Right now, it's going to be 1 game difference. That's a 2-game turnaround, all done by special teams and defense.
And Norm Johnson gives the Seahawks a 38-22 lead. It will be a 1st and goal from the 1 as they pick up the first down on that penalty. That's Hawkins in motion. And Wilson on the roll. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown it is. Discussion over at the far side as Marcus Allen was able to make the reception inbound. So the Raiders now trail 38-28.
You'll notice that the Raiders don't make a lot of substitutions no matter how they stand, whether the game is in the balance or not. They have 11 guys, and they generally keep them all out there, win, lose, or draw. That's why you see number 32 in the ball game at this time.
And here is Chris Barr with 47 seconds remaining. And Barr puts it through. The Seahawks now lead at 38-29. Raiders have 1 timeout left.
These guys right now wish they'd hustled a little bit more 2 minutes ago because they'd have a little bit more time left. They still have a timeout. They've got to score on this play.
Wilson going end zone.
He did.
Christensen. Beautiful catch by Todd Christensen. Talk about fantastic finishes. We have 12 seconds remaining.
Now they've got to really pull one out of their hat. They've got to make it. They have to get an onside kick, but they have to get one 25 yards down the field so they can kick a field goal too.
Todd Christensen with his 3rd touchdown catch of the day.
Let's take a look. Mark Wilson makes a beautiful throw right over the top of the linebacker in perfect sync, but Christensen has had an outstanding individual effort. 11 receptions, 3 touchdowns, 152 yards. I don't think I've seen many of those in a losing effort.
22-yard pass play. And now Barr with the point after attempt. He's got it. It is a 2-point Seahawk lead, 38-36. All right, here is Zorn again with protection, holding on, and that will do it. Collective sighs of relief by the Seahawks and head coach Chuck Knox as the Seahawks in a wild one here at the Kingdom have defeated the Raiders 38-36.